Hello and welcome to Cecil.tv, Cecil Weekly. It's June the 19th and I'm your host, Rob Churnside. Before we get started tonight, I have a couple things I want to run by you viewers out there in Cecil County. This is your radio station, TV station. Duh. This is your TV station, of course. It just seems like radio. But we start in November and we're seeking your input. What do you want us to cover? We're seeking you to become more involved. We have a rock similar to this, the Cecil.tv rock that's hidden somewhere in Cecil County at a secret location. All you have to do is find it and you win big. So I'll give you a hint. Imagine a local golf course. Imagine me playing. Imagine where my ball lands. Not on the fairway, not on the green, somewhere close. That's where the rock is hidden, so if you find it, contact us. Moreover, we're going to be at the fair this year, the Cecil County Fair in the end of July. And we'll be talking to you guys and find out what's going on. But right now, tonight, our first guest, Chris Broomall from Port Deposit. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome, and thank you for being here on Cecil.tv, Cecil Weekly. You're the newly appointed town councilman for Port Deposit.
That is correct.
One of how many?
One of six.
Six, really?
Yes, and the six, and then we have the mayor, so we have a quorum, so that any tied votes could be broken.
Well, that's wonderful that you actually volunteered to become town councilman, correct?
Yes, I did volunteer. I learned that the position was available and open. I have a desire to participate and give back to the people of the town where I live in, and so I approached them about it, and from there on the council unanimously agreed and I was appointed to the position.
Great.
Yes.
Now, as I travel about, and I mentioned that I am from Port Deposit, outside
Yes.
of town. People usually, if they know Port Deposit, they usually know it's a one-street town, parallel to the Susquehanna River. What else really do people not from around here associate Port Deposit with?
Well, Port Deposit actually has a very deep history about the town. The town is very, from the late 1700s even, and Jacob Tome, who the founder of the Tome School, there's the big granite quarries there. Our granite was quarried from Port Deposit and it actually traveled all over the world in different buildings. So it's very deep and rich history there. Lumber mills, shipyards, if you're familiar with back in the late 70s and early 80s, Wiley Shipyard was a big part of that town and a huge employer for the whole county of Cecil County. Some of the sections of the Harbor Tunnel in Baltimore were built right there in Wiley Shipyard. And then after the shipyard left the area, of course, then the town has gone through a transition period to where now it has become more of a residential and resort, if you will, area with marinas and shops and restaurants, which are some pretty amazing places that I would encourage people to come out and visit, and see what our town has to offer.
I've eaten, I think, in every one of them, and they're all good.
Yes, I would agree.
Now, there's always, up on the hill, there's always Bainbridge.
There is Bainbridge that exists there.
Has been there for a long time and still remains kind of a question mark, correct?
It is still a bit of a question mark, actually. I can't fully comment exactly as to all the plans for it and what it could be. There are many options, and as a council member, I would be open to listening to the perspective of anyone who would have a proposal for what we could put up there, any business, residential. So the options are endless, really, for what it could be.
And I know that you're also on the Parks and Rec Committee and the Codification Committee, which has to do with codes and things like that.
Yes, codification is to learn the regulations and codes that are mandated from the state of Maryland for municipalities and governmental, small town governments. So these codes are the things that we need to learn because these are what we operate and abide by. So I'm just being newly appointed, just beginning to get into all this, so I haven't delved into the depths of what all I'm going to find when I get into the learning all the codes. However, I do think, and some may say this is crazy, but I think it'll be interesting to learn it, to know and understand how things operate, so you have a better insight and a better view of what's going on in the government around you. I
Sure.
think oftentimes that people do not fully understand just how involved it is, even for a very small town like Port Deposit, like you say, a one-street town, just how much goes on in that small town, because you have many residents there, and so those people's lives need support in order to keep that town from water, sewer, utilities, all these things that have to be provided, things that need to be maintained. It's a large scale operation, but just shrunk down to a one-street town.
It all has to happen.
It all has to
and
happen.
you're a part of making that happen.
I'm going to be a part of it.
Your
Yes.
you have a term?
Yes, a 4-year term as council.
Good, great. Well, I know as having a Port Deposit address, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the watch and taking care of business down there, Chris.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Marina Park seems like it's becoming more of a presence in the town as well.
Yes, Marina Park it's a wonderful park. We have a public boat launch there, pavilion. We have newly built facilities for restrooms. We have a concession stand that is now open on the weekends with a really great young couple who are running that for us. And
Nice.
so we have a lot to offer there. We have a newly fully renovated what's called the gas house, which was the original house where the fuel oil and heating oil for Jacob Tomes Mansion was stored. And so that has just been fully converted now in conjunction with Towson University. Going to be a visitor center on the top floor. The bottom floor is where the Towson University biology students will work out of with the map turtle project, which the map turtles are an endangered species that are indigenous to our area there in Port Deposit. And so they've kind of put us on the map, so to speak.
Well, let's save the turtle, Chris, and
Yeah.
always look for more in 21904, Port Deposit.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.